Pamela X Thibodeaux is an award-winning author, life coach, and spiritual mentor. A tagline, Inspirational with an edge, defines her life, writing, and coaching style. And on today's episode of Author Interview, it's my utmost pleasure, joy, and excitement to have Pamela on the show today. How are you doing today, Pamela?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing very fine as well. It's lovely to have you on the show today. Quite exciting. We're going to be
Yes, it
sitting
is.
down and talking about your amazing bodies of literature work. So thank you once again for joining on.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. So, Pamela, we are going to get into the nitty gritty of what inspired you to write the Tempered series, But then you've been a writer for the past 40 years now, which I find to be quite amazing and quite awesome, really. And you've published multiple titles aside from the Tempered series. Now, I wanted to ask you, what was your first creative spark as a writer? What fuels you to write? And also, why did you choose this title for your book series? If you begin from there.
Okay, well, I started writing. I was just tired of reading the same old stuff, so just figured I could do better. It was actually a statement that the main characters, the hero's grandfather made. He
Mm.
said, only when hearts are tempered, minds are opened, and wills are softened can man discern the will of God for his life. And so it was like, okay, tempered hearts, there's your first book, right? And so as the other books developed from there, I kept with the same tag, the same tempered, like tempered hearts, tempered dreams, tempered fire, tempered joy, tempered truth, and tempered journey. So that's the basic series, the 6 book series. And then there's a spin-off novella um, from Tempered Fire. Then the nemesis, her name is Lori, and so we have Lori's Redemption, which is a spin-off novella. So the characters are all in every one of the books.
Wow.
The stories just come alive. The characters come alive. The stories come alive, and they just kind of take on a life of their own. I just record it.
That's an amazing one, actually. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. I love your take on that. Thank you. Pamela, your Tempered series takes readers through a powerful, emotional, and relational journey, beginning with Tempered Heart, moving through Tempered Dreams to Tempered Fire and Tempered Joy, and then continuing 5 years later with Tempered Truth. Now, I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to explore these characters across such different life stages, and how did you approach building on each story as the series progressed?
My original design was just to have Tempered Hearts and then Tempered Fire. I didn't intend to have a full series. An automobile accident, doctor stopping by to check the people in the accident. It was a single car vehicle accident. And but I didn't know what happened with her. And when I was writing Tempered Hearts, I'm like, well, he's the perfect doctor for that book. Well, I didn't realize it would be another tempered book. So as I was writing Tempered Dreams and Tempered Fire, they run parallel in time. The little guy, the young boy in Tempered, in the main character's son, he's about 8 or 9 years old during the minute. Let me finish writing these. And so his developed from there. And then
Oh,
Tempered Truth, in Tempered, there's a thread through the story of whether or not the hero in Tempered Hearts and the hero in Tempered Dreams are actually related.
mm,
And so my readers kept saying, well, we want in Tempered Joy. But it was just a brief answer. And if you're not really paying attention to the thread that runs through, you
yeah.
might not catch it. But the readers did. They caught it very well. And they said, okay, we want to know the whys, wherefores, and hows that they were related but not raised together and what the deal was. So that's where Tempered Truth came in. The heroine in Tempered Hearts
Mm.
doesn't make it through the entire series, and everybody kept saying that the hero needed a follow-up story. I'm just trying to decide that because I'm like, well, who's going to be his perfect next heroine's best friend of My Heart Weeps ends up being the heroine in Tempered Journey. So it kind of pulled the series and that single title together.
Wow. I must say that's an amazing answer you've got in there. And I love how you give those answers in a way that it progresses from one series to the next, and on to the next, and on to the next, in such a beautiful, progressive, and lovely transitioning manner. Now, with Laurie's redemption spinning off from Tempered Fire, what led you to give Laurie her own story?
Well, I had written a little synopsis for a book set
Mm,
in Recluse, Wyoming. She was such a brat in Tempered
mm,
Fire, and everybody deserves redemption. Everybody deserves a better, and it just kind of fell together.
yeah.
I really can't say that I planned all this out. It's just that I wanted to do this story about a bull rider that turned preacher.
Mm.
So she got her own story. That's just how it evolved from there.
Mm, that's an amazing one as well. Thank you. Thank you for answering. Now, your newest book, A Hint of Holiday Romance, is a festive collection of short stories, each tied to a different holiday and full of romance, hope, and healing. Now, can you share what inspired you to write this anthology style collection after years of writing full-length novels?
I were previously published with a small press publisher, and
Mm,
then I had 4 seasons: a spring, a fall, a winter, and a
mm,
and then I started writing short stories. I was gearing them towards a popular women's magazine in the
mm,
United States, and I kept just getting rejections. The stories were not working for the magazine. And this add some stories to each one. So I have 2 collections. One's called A Hint of Romance, and the other one's
mm.
called The Hint of Holiday Romance. And each one in holiday romance is set around a certain holiday. We have New Year's, we have Mardi Gras, we have St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, which
Mm,
actually the Labor Day story goes in the United States Labor Day and then the Labor Day in New Zealand. So it kind of
yeah.
carries over. And then we have a Halloween, a Thanksgiving, and a Christmas. So if there's 11 stories in A Hint of Holiday Romance. Had the idea to put them together in the 2 separate collections and to develop the stories around certain holidays.
Mm.
And so I did it.
Oh wow, that's an amazing what you've done, really. A very great work, quite commendable, really. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I would also like to ask you, because I'm curious as to if there were
Thank
particular
you.
holiday stories or emotion you felt drawn to explore. And I was returning to shorter formats, creatively different for you for this particular one.
It's just to expand my writing ability.
Mm.
Writing a long novel has a lot of description in it. In short
Yeah, it
stories, you
does.
don't have room for that. You've got to kind of get to the meat and potatoes of the relationship. I always, always will have a happy ever after. And when I
Yeah,
was with the little publishing company I was with, they liked having those. They could put them out there for like real reasonable and people just to give people a taste of your writing.
yeah.
So somebody likes short stories, they'll get a taste of my writing by reading those short stories.
Mm,
Um, Instead of buying a full length novel and then they don't really like my writing style or whatever, then they've wasted their time and their money and their energy. So I like
mm.
to give them a taste of something shorter. And if
Oh,
someone signs up to receive my newsletter, they receive a free short story.
mm,
Um, it's just one that I didn't include in the anthologies, the collections.
mm, mm. Thank you so much for that lovely, beautiful answer to this question. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. And
I
you've
appreciate
written
you. You're
abs-
asking some great questions. So it's
Yeah, that's true. And Pamela, you've written everything from full-length novels to short stories to devotionals and non-fiction. How do you decide what form a story or message you take? How do you decide what way it's gonna go? Does it come to you naturally, or do you have the full power to control that?
I really don't know a lot about what's going to happen or go on. The only thing I will say is it will have a happy ever after or happy for now. In fact, the way that My Heart Weeps ended you don't know for sure that the hero and heroine stay together because it's a women's fiction, so it has a thread of romance in it.
Mm.
So it pulled the series together, but also answered those questions. My readers were like, "Well, what happened with them? Did they get married? Did they stay together? Blah 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 blah." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well let's answer that question as well." But
Mm.
I really just write by the seat of my pants. I don't really know everything about the story, and I just sit down and relax and ask my characters to talk to me, and we just write it together.
That's an amazing one. Thank you very much. And talking about that, quite beautiful and quite wholesome. And I wanted to also ask you, because your stories are often described as inspirational with an edge. Can you unpack that phrase a bit? What does it mean to you as both a writer and also as a reader?
Christian point of view. My characters are Christians. They're faith-filled people.
Oh,
And so one of my taglines has also been a unique combination of sensual and spiritual. So they
mm,
have, I just don't write conservative. And that's where the inspirational with an edge came out. I was actually setting up a book signing years and years ago, and I'd heard about taglines, and I wasn't real sure what that meant. And the bookstore, the manager, I was telling him what the books was about, and he said, "Oh, so you write inspirational with an edge?" I said, "Yes, sir." And you just gave me my
mm.
tagline. Thank you very much. And that's how it came about.
Wow, that's an amazing answer. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'd like you to raise the book to the camera if you have a copy of it there with you. The
Which
tempered
one do you
series.
want me to put up there? One
Yeah,
of the
from the
tempered
first
books?
to the second to the third to the fourth series, one after the other. That would be great. Nice way to see the lovely
Tempered
covers as
hearts.
well. Beautiful
It's tempered
cover.
hearts. Tempered dreams.
Oh wow.
Tempered fire. Yeah, the
Mm,
hero in Tempered Dreams is a doctor. Tempered Fire. This is
mm,
the couple in Tempered Hearts, and the main your one of your main threads. Theme of the book is Daddy let do very well with it either, but that's as she
oh
finds love of her own. And then
wow.
Tempered Joy is
Wow.
character is the hero and heroine, the couple in Tempered Hearts. Then Tempered Journey is the hero, Craig Harris, in Tempered Hearts. That's his follow up
Oh
story that
wow.
my readers asked for.
Mm,
And that's my favorite house in the whole world, A Log Home.
mm.
And then Lori's Redemption is the spinoff of Tempered Fire. Lori was always known as a wild child.
Mm,
So she finds redemption from being a wild
wow.
child. And that's the
Ah,
Tempered series. There will be another one at some point. It'll kind of fill in some missing years. And then there will be two spin-off series with all the children that are born in this within this series,
oh,
children and grandchildren. There'll be other books. So
wow.
we'll keep up with the family.
I must say that's a beautiful transitioning, and I know that there's a lot of work that going to writing a book. So I want to say that's quite commendable, really. Quite commendable.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And Pamela, you don't shy away from real life struggles like trauma, like grief and recovery, but you also bring in hope and faith in your writing. How do you find that balance when writing something so emotionally grounded? I would love your take on this.
A lot of prayer, a lot of weeping. I cry with my characters. I grow with my characters.
I love
I
that.
I let them just tell their story,
Mm,
and a lot of prayers because I have a book that it's called The Visionary. I don't have a copy of it right now, but it's called The Visionary, and it's a women's fiction. The main characters is a set of male female twins.
mm.
One, and it deals with their healing from child abuse.
Oh,
And so it's not
wow.
an easy topic.
Mm,
And then just they got themselves painted in one of them. The guy got himself painted into a corner, a pretty rough situation. And I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but I'm taking my hands off this one because I had no idea how to get him out of that fix he was in. And I just let
mm.
it happen. I just let it unfold. And there's a lot of emotion that runs through me as the author
Mm,
that my characters go through. And I think it was Robert Frost that said, "No tears in the reader, in the writer, no tears in the reader."
mm.
So, yeah, just
Wow.
let it happen. And to stay balanced myself. I do a lot of self care, a lot of prayer, and it just keeps me balanced personally, as
Mm.
well as letting the characters find that healing on their own.
That's a beautiful one, really. Thank you very much for answering. I love your take on that. And also, whether it is the visionary, maybe Circles of Fate, or My Heart Weeps, your characters often go through deep emotional and spiritual transformation, whether it is from the
Mm-hmm.
visionary or Circles of Fate or My Heart Weeps. Your characters often go through deep emotion and spiritual transformation. Now I'm curious to ask you, what draw you to write about healing and second chances?
Life. It took me 11 years to write it,
Wow.
but her journey parallels mine because my husband passed away, and I went through all this. This was back in 2009 that he passed away, and I went through all the emotions that she goes through.
Wow.
And that's why it took so long to write it, because you
Mm.
relive all those emotions.
Wow.
Circles of Fate is a couple that's torn apart and thrown together by fate.
Mm.
And it's just letting them deal with the situations of life, marriage, fidelity, and then feeling guilty about it, even though you don't do anything about it. You have all these feelings, and so letting them heal from those
Mm.
emotions,
Yeah.
you know and it brings together people that their lives are forever entwined. They just start out as friends or acquaintances, but the way God worked it all out, their lives are forever entwined. So just
Mm.
life. It's just life.
Absolutely. Oh, wow.
And I want my characters to be real. I want their struggles to be real. I don't want to gloss
Mm.
it over or hint at it. But again, I'm careful not to show it in a vulgar or graphic manner. Carrie's Christmas wish, it Carrie starts out
Mm.
with her scrolling on her computer and saying bah humbug about all the Christmas in July, and all the
Mm.
hype, and she really doesn't like all the hype and commercialism around Christmas. And
Mm.
besides, you know Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. And so she struggled with that her entire life, and she wants to know the truth.
Mm.
So if you've read the book, Heaven is for Real, or any of the books with near death experiences, then she has a trip to heaven during a
Wow.
near death experience, and she gets the answer about Jesus's birth. And so
Mm.
it's something that a lot of people question that. Well, if you look back at all the theology and you look back at this, and does it really matter what
Mm.
day he was born on? And if so, when was that? So we get the answer. Carrie gets her answer, and she comes through it. And then what do you do with that kind of answer?
Mm.
What do you do with this knowledge? So the book just it uncovers all that for her. It unpacks
Mm.
that for her. So a lot
Mm.
of us question, what is our purpose? What do we do with this experience and knowledge that we have? Well, I write
Mm.
about it
Mm.
through
Oh,
my
wow.
characters.
Oh, wow. That is such an amazing answer you've gotten there. And I'm sorry to know about the death of your husband in there as well. I know it's been years ago. It's such an emotional one. And it's always amazing
Yes.
how those experiences can also inspire your writing in one way or the other. And, talking about healing and second chance, I think it's a nice conversation around healing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And apart from the books we've mentioned so far, do you have any other works that you're currently working on?
I have a lot of works in progress. I have some nonfiction projects that I'm tinkering with, and then,
Mm.
of course, other fiction projects. I'm not actively writing this week. I had a long vacation, so I'm trying to get settled and
Wow.
get things back in normal. So I'll start actively working on something next week.
Mm.
But since you mentioned it, I was going to bring up my devotional.
Mm.
It's called Love is a Rose. And if you've heard the song "The Rose," but it was performed by Bette Midler or and Conway Twitty years and years ago. And it's the one that some say love is like a river and it drowns the tender reed. That song. This all came from God. I was listening to the radio and I heard the song, and
Mm,
I just sat down and started writing scriptures that corresponded with each verse of the song. And so that's how the devotional came about.
oh
So
wow.
it's all inspired. It's all of my writing is inspired
Hmm.
by
Wow.
God.
Wow, that's a good one to hear, really. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview and would love to get a copy of any of your books, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
Everything's at Amazon. They're available in ebook and print and audio. Just my two short story collections are not in audio yet.
Hmm,
They're available through Kobo. If they're a U.S. reader, they can send autographed copies that way to United overseas, but they can get ebooks or audiobooks.
that's great. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Pamela S. book directly on Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, on our website, and also on other platforms. I also left link to Pamela's social media pages for possible followings. So thank you so much, Pamela, for accepting the invitation to come up, sit down across continent, virtually, and have this lovely conversation with me around your body of literature work. I'm also this is so inspiring, quite interesting, so beautiful, and quite emotional a bit, yeah, having this conversation with you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. It was wonderful to meet you, and I certainly wish you the best of luck and all of God's blessings on your platform. I've seen a lot of great interviews, so I wish you the best. I hope it really
Amen.
explodes for you.
Amen. Thank you.